Once upon a time, in a small village of Umume, there lived a group of students who attended a local secondary school. The school was surrounded by lush green hills, dense trees, and simple thatched roofs, perched where families lived close to the earth. The villagers were peaceful, their lives intertwined with tradition, but there was always an undercurrent of mystery in their ancient lands. They believed in powerful spirits and forces that could shape the course of one's life. Among the students was Nena, a girl beautiful, confident, and powerful that no one dared cross her path. With her tall, commanding presence and smooth skin, Nena had the kind of beauty that made people tremble in awe and fear. Her long braided hair gleamed like midnight and her piercing eyes. Nena's piercing eyes seemed to see right through anyone who dared challenge her at school or anywhere. In her uniform, a crisp white shirt and a red skirt, Nena looked every bit the queen she considered herself to be. She moved through the school halls like royalty, and a dark aura and a negative energy around her. Her followers, boys and girls alike, would follow her everywhere around the school. Nena's powers, however, wasn't just her beauty. Rumors spread that she had made a pact with the spirits of the land. Some said she could command the weather. Others whispered that her gaze could bring bad luck to those who crossed her path. Regardless of the truth, Nena ruled the school with an ironed hand. But there was one student who wasn't afraid of Nena, Chisom. Chisom was a great girl, a quiet, unassuming girl, and while she was not as outwardly striking as Nena, there was something about her that made her different. She had a gentle spirit and unwavering faith in God, and carried with her a Bible that she reads every day. While the other students filled their time with gossiping about Nina's beauty and power, Chisholm spent her time studying the Bible, praying, often reading verses aloud in the quiet corners of the schoolyard. It was time for the school's annual cultural festival, a day that showcased the vibrant traditions, culture. The students dressed in their white shirts and red skirts and trousers, and everyone was excited for the performances that would highlight traditional dances, songs, and history. So they all went inside the school hall, and it was Nena's turn to perform. Her plan was to cast a spell on this particular day. Nena naturally was the star of the show. As she stepped onto the stage, her red skirt billowed around her. The spotlight hit her and she began her dance. The rhythm beat of the talking drum filling the air. Her movements were fluid, hypnotic, but there was something off about Nena. Something in the air felt unnatural. The temperature dropped sharply as dark clouds began to roll in, covering the once clear sky. The air became heavy. The students, in their white skirts and shirts, felt a chill run down their spines. Whispers began to spread through the crowd. At that moment, a shadow, seemingly coming from nowhere, appeared behind Nina on stage. She didn't notice, lost in the rhythm of her dance, but the audience gasped as the shadow grew, taking on the shape of something monstrous, a dark figure with glowing eyes. Nena didn't stop her dance, but the whispers grew louder and the ground beneath her began to tremble. The stage started to crack, and the dangers of shadow reached out from the cracks, wrapping themselves around her leg. Panic set in as the students in their red skirts and trousers stood up screaming. Nena, still dancing, was trapped by the dark force now encircling her. From the far corner of the festival ground, Chisholm stood silently after watching. As the chaos erupted on the stage, she held her Bible tightly in her hands, her white shirt and skirt glowing in the midst of the turmoil. Without hesitation, she walked towards the stage, her presence radiating calm. The crowd parted and the shadowy figure seemed to shrink back, unable to approach her. As the figure transformed into different forms, Chisholm stood still for a moment, looking as if she's calling on something higher. With a steady voice, she began to recite a verse from Philippians 4:13, which says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. As her words filled the air, the dark figure screeched and shrank back as if the very mention of Christ had burnt it. As Chisholm continued with reading the scriptures, the students joined with prayers, sending fire, a great thunderstorm, the stage where Nena danced. Suddenly, Nena transformed into her coven's queen wear, with her spiritual backups all around her, but couldn't stand the power of God. Feeling humiliated, she bowed down to her knees to the King of Glory. Chisholm stood with hand lifted up high, giving praises to God and appreciating Him for giving them victory, with the demons still visually seen all around her, but they couldn't access her. God had done what no man could do by setting free the student and the school from a spell. The next day, the school activities continued normally. The peace returned to the school. Students were seen reading, and Chisholm, as usual, was seen reading her Bible. And yes, Nena was nowhere to be found. And so suddenly, one day, with students sitting in class, a mysterious presence was felt. A strange cold energy filled the room, and the air seemed to grow heavy. It was said to be the return of Nena. The peace the school had once known was about to be shattered. Yes, it is the return of Nina, and so watch out for the return of Nina.